you started off saying to begin with?
Talking about teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been teaching for over 30 years, and it's hard to think where I can start to start talking about everything that's gone on in those 30 years. When I think of when I started to teach, I now know, if I can just read it, that teachers have to have an enormous amount of knowledge to teach. And I don't think I've finished yet, even though I'm about to retire, and I'm very keen to come back in my next life and hopefully start from where I left off and keep the knowledge building. When I first started to teach, I was very excited and felt I just had to go into the classroom and tell the students what to do, because I'd been a dancer and I'd had all this training, and they would listen to me and follow. Well, they did listen to me and they did try to follow, but I soon realised that it wasn't enough. And I went to a lot of teaching seminars with older, experienced and sometimes scary teachers who I'd be hiding at the back of the classroom, and they would look up and say, "You, what was your name? Margaret. Come and show me how you teach about Montfondu." And I'd just feel sick. Because I thought, oh, what do I say? What do I do? But that was how I learned that you've got to know everything. You can't just say, this is about Montfondu, off you go, and you have to follow through with the details. So that was the start of it. Then I soon realised that it's not just about the steps. You have to train the ballet dancer to have that beautiful body look. The long neck, the poised head, the open shoulders. And that is a total different skill to just dancing. Just doing coupé, chassé, pas de bras, rond jeté across the room. How do you teach them to get the longest neck, to get the broadest shoulders? What do you tell them? So then, knowledge building, knowledge building, knowledge building. Then I realised I had to listen to the older teachers. And I had to read too, to find out about it. And I had to go into the classroom and look at a student and think, okay, what's the problem here? Why do those shoulders not look right? How am I going to fix it? Or help the student to fix it? And then as I was teaching, all new ideas came in about stretching, which I think stretching is still being explored even now, and it's fascinating once you start to learn about stretching, that even each child needs to try different ways of stretching. And then the core strength came in. Wasn't enough just to leave the students to gain that strength at the bar doing the exercises. We had to learn as teachers how to teach them to gain more core strength, how to understand the core strength. Breathing was another thing that was a complete surprise to me. I thought, well, of course they breathe, but I soon discovered that there was a percentage of students who didn't breathe. They'd take a deep breath at the beginning of an exercise or a dance and then let it out at the end. And then these students were the students who tired. And so then there was a whole process of so many movements. Take a breath. Are you holding your breath? So breathing was another thing. So you've got your postural things, you've got your breathing, you've got your stretching, your core strength. Then, of course, you've got your psychology. Teachers have to understand more now. You can't just go in there and tell a child, that's not right. You know, that's no good. You've got to come at it in a way to keep the child thinking positively. And that's all very well, but it's very difficult to do that when you're teaching an elite art form, when you want to get from the students something that's above and beyond the everyday thing. How do you get them to understand their negatives? So this was all introduced to me too. And then I stopped and I thought, oh, I have to teach carefully. I can't just go into a classroom and and blunder away. I have to know what I'm saying to the child. And then the other thing was, I learnt you have to understand the individual student and how they're thinking. Because they all think differently, and they can trick you. They can trick you into thinking that they're taking on board everything you're saying, when they're smiling and nodding because they want to keep you happy, and they feel that smiling and nodding at you is going to keep you happy. So you finish happy, you finish the class feeling you've done really well, but I discovered that's not enough. How you feel at the end of class doesn't count. It's what you've managed to get across to the students. And as I said, each student you have to look at individually to know what they're thinking. And I often say to a student now, I'll tell them something, did you da-da-da-da-da-da? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, are you saying yes because you think that's what I want to hear? Or are you saying yes because that's what you think? So you really have to pull out of the student, and it's not easy, what they're thinking. And do you understand that? Yes. And you think they can't, it's too complex. So, okay, explain it to me. So that was a total different understanding of how to teach as to when I first started to teach, and I just thought I'd just go in and tell them what to do. And the learning process has been fascinating. And, how can I say? I try to get across to the students to relax, enjoy your learning, because if you think about it, you'll be fascinated with what you're learning too, and you'll be fascinated with what you can discover on your body. And students get an impression in their head, this is what they can do and no more. And to try and get them to understand that there's more all the time is a real challenge. I can't think of anything else to say now.